And we begin with JOS because the Youth Employment Agency is set to launch 6 new modules across the country by the end of this month. Officials say the move is to provide about 60,000 jobs. Yes, you heard right. In order to reduce the high unemployment rate in the country, Prince Appiah has been speaking to the CEO, Justin Kodia, in Kumasi.
According to the Chief Executive Employment Agency, about 60,000 people are targets for the new 6 modules of the YEA. Some of the modules of the YEA have in the past been characterized by corruption, resulting in discontinuation. Mr. Justin Kodia have told Love Business the new law will address earlier shortfalls in module implementation.
To the end of the month, we are rolling out about 6 modules. Youth in security, youth in sanitation, youth in paid internship, youth in graduate internship, youth in afforestation, youth in revenue mobilization. And we are looking at about 60,000 youth throughout the country who are going to be enrolled into the various modules. We are going to extend the period for people to also go and apply. So hopefully towards the end of the month, the application stage will be over. Then the next stage will be the shortlisting and the recruitment. So that is what I mean by the end of the month.
Most of the models from YEA over the time are unable to be complete, if I should say. They don't end, they get truncated along the line. What are the measures you are putting in place to ensure that these models continue? I
believe that is why the ads came into force, because previously there was no ads. But now the ads states clearly what we are supposed to do and the time frame for every model. Basically, it's not about truncating models. It's about looking at value for money and the effect of the model. You know, our program is a medium or a short-term program, but after the 2 years duration, there should be an exit plan, and that is where the focus and attention should be. Hitherto, the problem that we are having was inaccurate information. Someone will tell you that I have this qualification, but when you do verification, you realize that it is not so. So this time around, to fast-track the process and make sure that we work within the time schedule, the information that are provided to us must be accurate, so help us in performing our legal mandate.
He spoke to Love Business at the 30th anniversary ceremony of St. Theresa Parish Catholic Youth in Kumasi. Municipal Chief Executive of Asokore Mampong, Ali Duseidu, says processes are underway for setting up fruit processing factory in the area.
We are coming to establish one factory within the municipality. It will go with the processing of pineapple, orange, watermelon, and mango. So, as I'm speaking with you, the land has been acquired. All the business plan and everything has been drawn. 2 site visits have been made by the coordinator for one factory. On Wednesday, we will be going to Sechra Plains to inspect land that has been earmarked for the planting of the raw materials to feed into the plant.
Youth Chairman of the St. Theresa Parish Catholic Youth, Charles Ishen, wants government to be relentless in the clampdown on illegal mining.
30 years for the youth of this parish are focused and determined to make positive impact in our society. Youth Development Fund. This is to assist the youth in education and skills training.
Prince Appiah reporting.
Turning now to the tourism industry, where the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Catherine Afeku, has hinted of government's resolve to put together a special stimulus package for investors venturing into the sector. Speaking to Joy Business at the launch of the Special Hospitality Act, the minister revealed that all personnel at tourist sites in Ghana will be undergoing intensive training in the coming weeks. This forms part of moves to make the sector competitive and attractive in West Africa.
GIPC is a partner, and they are mandated to support the industry with incentives. Nothing specific was said. But we are very committed to the sector, and that's why we brought Mr. Yofi Grant on board. He is mandated to work out the modalities. We are promoting more investments in the tourism and hospitality sector, but GIPC is the mandatory entity to help in that regard.
Help us understand the true state of the tourism industry in Ghana today.
We have to be very, very honest. It is not the tops and the very best. That is why we are making all these efforts to put it at the very pinnacle, because what is a selling point for Ghana is it's safe, it's secure, and we have the most friendliest people in West Africa. These three key things are big selling points as compared to Kenya, South Africa, Mauritius. Ghana has a lot going for us, but we have gaps in infrastructure, we have gaps in hotels in terms of the numbers, and we also have gaps in service delivery. So that is the area that we are focusing on. And when we have enhanced that, matching it with our friendliness, matching it with our safety, and our general hospitable nature as a people, I think it will be a win-win. But the reality is there is work to do.
And as you may be aware, the Ghana Investment Summit came to an end today. Government, through the GIPC, that's the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, has been engaging hundreds of potential local and international investors on the business opportunities available in the various sectors of the economy at that summit. Now, the summit, according to Senior Minister Yao Osafo-Maafo, is aimed at assuring potential investors of the stimulus packages government has set aside, especially for the expansion of the private sector. Meanwhile, Joy Business's Charles Aite has been speaking with CEO of GIPC, Yofi Grant, who tells us potential investors have serious interest in Ghana's agric and energy sectors.
Believe that Ghana will make it is almost overwhelming. And I think it's the vision of the president and his firm commitment and his passion to achieving it that communicates that. When you come to this country, you just can't help but fall in love with it.
So which specific sectors of the economy do you think these investors are prioritizing?
Well, they are looking at the priority sectors. Of course, energy, infrastructure, agro-processing. There's a bit of tourism. There's also the technology space where a lot of people are interested, because that's the only place where costs are going down but utilities increasing. So it creates a great business opportunity for a lot of people. But I must say that speaking to one investor that I spoke, and when he came to Ghana after I went to his country and he came back, he called me and paid a visit to my office, and he says, yeah, I know that you came speaking about energy, but when I came here, I saw so much that I'm actually confused. There are so many things that we can do, and there's so many things that can happen in this country, and we believe that you have put together the right policies to make them happen. So they're actually going to stay here.
Now, government is planning to roll out policies aimed at reducing the cost of infrastructure in the telecom industry. In an interview with Joy Business's Kukwa appear at a dialogue series by the network of communication reporters under the theme Moving from Service Quality to Service Excellence, technical advisor at the Ministry of Communications, Emmanuel Mensah-Bah, stressed on the need for operators to share infrastructure to reduce the cost of the operations.
Although government policies in the past have focused on ensuring a competitive telecom sector, not much attention has been paid to the quality of service offered customers. But technical advisor at the Ministry of Communications, Emmanuel Mensah-Bah, says this is about to change because government is about to implement industry-specific policies targeted at extending 2G, 3G and 4G services to all parts of the country.
I mean, these policies will be looking at network operators collaborating and working together. We need to find ways in which they manage to get returns on their investment other than pure competition. When it comes to network quality, again, it should be innovative solutions. So government is looking at policies that would ensure that the operators put in work together to ensure that there is improved network quality. They need to work together on their fiber network rollouts. There needs to be more network sharing, more collaboration. There's a concept, open access concept, which government is also looking at seriously to see how best they can introduce it through regulatory policy. It's not going to be easy because the operators started off on in a competition basis whereby they own their own infrastructure, where their strength is based on what they own. But these have brought challenges when it comes to fiber because of fiber cuts and also their inability to roll out significantly. Hence, if a regulatory environment is put in place that encourages network sharing, it will first of all reduce cost of network rollout, it will improve network quality, and then it will also bring down prices for the consumer to benefit.
The dialogue series aims to create a two-way path of communication between stakeholders in the telecommunications industry and the media.
Moving on now, and the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SSNIT has begun an exercise to review and audit its properties. This is geared towards ascertaining the true financial value of its assets and enable it to take prudent investment decisions going forward. Here's Ebenezer Sabote's report.
The audit, to be conducted by PricewaterhouseCoopers PwC, will enable the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SSNIT know the true state of its investment in the country. This is geared towards establishing the true financial value of SSNIT's assets to enable it to take prudent venture decisions going forward. Addressing the media after signing a contract with PricewaterhouseCoopers, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Kwame Adokufor, said the exercise is to better inform the board as SSNIT seeks to diversify its investment portfolios into more profitable ventures.
It is the expectation of the board and management that the findings and recommendations of the independent review and baseline assessment will help the trust to do the following. 1. Know the ground truth and status of SSNIT as at 31st March 2017. 2. Offer guidance in the formulation of strategies and plans to ensure that the objectives of the pension reforms, which include the following: A. Improving income security for the Ghanaian worker. 2. Increasing coverage of the trust, especially for now among cocoa farmers and fishers. 3. Reducing administrative costs. And 4. Ensuring good returns on investment, as well as ensuring SSNIT is managed effectively, efficiently, and with a high level of integrity. The third one, we are considering deal with issues of overt and reckless wrongdoing that may be unearthed.
He also revealed despite SSNIT's high interest in ICT infrastructure, the returns are low.
Conduct an audit of the IT systems in use by the trust. The purpose of the IT system audit is to identify and document gaps in the SSNIT IT system in view of the large expenditure, and emphasize the word large expenditure, on a new business process automation system. A lot of investment has been made, and the return on the investment is very meager, to put it charitably.
As the Tier 1 administrator and the largest non-banking financial institution in Ghana, SSNIT is making frantic efforts to redeem its image and reposition the brand away from the negative public perception.
All right, so let's turn to the banking sector now and issues arising. So we are expecting the Bank of Ghana to announce the new capital requirement for banks next week or so. Now, already, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has hinted to Joy Business the increase would be substantial. Just take a look at this.
We haven't concluded on the level yet, but clearly it's going to be challenging. But more often than not, you give banks a bit of time to be able to do that.
1 year?
At least, yeah.
And therefore, there are some more saying that it brings a lot of challenges as well. The plan for the local banks in particularly, what will be the plan for them as well?
I think those things need to be looked at, because you can't grow an economy without having strong indigenous representation. So we will look at that to make it possible. We still have some pension fund resources that we can begin to discuss how to use that to support. But we will expect quite a bit of consolidation and mergers, within the ranks.
So you had the finance minister there. What are the possible scenarios being considered by the regulator, and can all the banks meet the new levels? There's more in this report.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta yesterday told Joy Business the Bank of Ghana is yet to settle on the new levels for banks. This is despite an early announcement by the regulator that they should come out with a much-awaited announcement by the first week of next month. This implies we have some 7 working days to this big news. So what is on the table? Well, if the Bank of Ghana decides to use the new capital levels to push out the supposed weak banks for some mergers, acquisition or support banks to undertake bigger transactions, then the regulator could settle on 400 or 520 million Ghana cedis. If the regulator just wants the banks to absorb losses, then it would settle on 255 or 350 million Ghana cedis. After going through the financial statements of most of the commercial banks, it looks like only 8 out of the 36 banks may meet the 520 million cedis requirement. That is, if they are required to meet the new levels just under a year. For 260 or 350 million Ghana cedis, 14 banks may sail through. Another scenario that is being considered in meeting the capital requirements, according to government, is that shareholders of these banks are required to inject fresh capital or capitalization through income surplus or a combination of both.
Meanwhile, business mogul and owner of GN Bank, Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum, has kicked against the planned substantial increase in the minimum capital requirement. Dr. Ndum tells Joy Business the Bank of Ghana should rather look at a tier system for the banks. He, however, maintains that GN Bank would not have any problems in meeting the capital, even if it is as high as 520 million cedis.
I don't believe in this talk that goes on from time to time that the banks in Ghana are too small, that you have to raise minimum capital. I don't believe in it because, you build banks for different reasons. Every bank must have its niche. So there's room for small banks, just as there's a need for big banks. But you can't force all banks to be of the same size or to do the same thing. Some want to go and do oil and gas. We have a bank, GN Bank. We want to be a retail bank. We like volume. We will make small monies. Okay, so we don't need a huge capital base to go and fund oil exploration or to go and do all sorts of other things that some of the bigger banks want to do.
You propose a capping, for instance. Let's have a cap system for this whole recapitalization thing rather than a one-size-fits-all.
No, you fund a bank for your business plan. If what the requirement of your business plan is what should determine the capital that's required. We own a bank in the U.S. What we put in that bank was commensurate with the business plan that was accepted by the regulator. Anytime that our deposits rise, okay, to a certain level, and therefore your business plan changes, then you must also bring additional money. Just as if it goes below a certain level, then they will ask you to bring more money if you make some losses. So it is according to your business plan, not according to some predetermined level that every bank ought to be at.
So you are against this one-size-fits-all thing?
Oh, definitely. And I've been talking about it. It is not necessary.
But it looks like the governor is bent on moving ahead of this plan. Even the maximum they are proposing is 520 million. Are you ready for a GN Bank?
The governor is a regulator. What they say, we will do. We are not going to go and argue with them. In terms of whatever the level is that they raise you to, we will be there. We don't have any problem.
We have about 1 year to recapitalize.
It doesn't matter. If they give us 3 months, 6 months, we will meet whatever capital level that is required. I'm just saying that it is not necessary to force everybody to go to a certain level, because if I have excess capital beyond what I need, that's idle money. And any entrepreneur does not want money that is idle, doesn't earn anything. And you may be forced to go and do some things that will rather destroy your bank.
And so we are counting down to the day of the big announcement. That's a little over a week away. And we're also keeping our eyes on developments at the ports. That's where we want to go now, because companies as well as agencies at the country's ports that fail to comply with the new regulations of the paperless system risk being banned completely. That's a warning from the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA. It is coming in the wake of concerns by some players over teething problems in the pilot implementation of the system. But port officials have assured them all such challenges will be addressed before the full rollout from September 1. GPHA's Manager of Marketing and Communications, Esther Donko, says all non-compliant entities will be sanctioned.
They are trying to protect the government revenue by taking away a lot of human interface from the system, and that is why the paperless system is going to be more or less automated to a very high extent. So I believe that, yes, these things will go away. But then it is clear that the Vice President has indicated that the companies, and for that matter, I believe we are all part of it, you know, the companies or the clearing and forwarding agents or the importers that will be found wanting the first, as in being non-compliant, the first time they are, caught, they will be given punitive charges to pay. The second time they are banned from operating in the ports. So it sends a signal that we should all be alert and do away with those kind of dubious characters. If not, if you are found wanting, you'll be dealt with.
Esther Donko also disputed concerns that some port officials will unduly take advantage of the system to exploit clearing agents.
To take the port authority itself, the corruption thing is not really there. Because I can say that because, you see, terminal charges is a straightforward thing and it's fixed. So if you are handling a 20-footer, this is what we charge. If you are handling a 40-footer, this is what we charge. So you are unable to play with those official charges. And then what we do is also to even pay before the container is positioned. So it's difficult to do that. I don't know whether you're thinking of maybe those small monies that they drop for them. I don't know. But we obviously, even before the paperless, we've always been cautioning our staff that they have to give service without charging. So we'll continue with that. And if you take the other stakeholders, the system is going to be very transparent, very, very transparent.
You're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. We'll be back with our interview of the day. Welcome back. Let's do our interview of the day. The banking sector is safe and sound despite the recent challenges facing the industry. A strong assurance coming from President of the Ghana Association of Bankers, Al-Hassan Andani, to depositors and other players in the industry. This follows reports that high loan defaults and bad corporate governance practices were the main reasons for the collapse of UT and Capital Bank. The central bank, in its latest industry report, cites rising loan defaults as one of the biggest threats to the sector's stability. The regulator, for instance, puts the total stock of the loans that banks fear may go bad to almost 8 billion cedis ending June this year. But Mr. Andani tells Joy Business those prudential regulatory requirements that have guided the banks over the years are still being complied with.
Interview of the day.
We have very strict operating minimum ratios and requirements that the central bank monitors, and all of us, without an exception, are supposed to hold onto those ratios and critical performance criteria. If there are any infractions, there could be cure periods, and what cure period and what resolution or what issues be, how issues be dealt with is in the preserve of a central bank. But I can assure you that the entire industry, we have very well set, well laid down minimum operating criteria, ratios and risk parameters that are constantly measured internally by ourselves, our own boards, and the central bank. And for those of us who have external, owners, we, for example, all of our operating ratios are looked at by the Reserve Bank of South Africa and the other banks that operate outside of Ghana. It cannot be what you are describing.
What is the association also doing to manage the negative contagion effect to assure people out there that despite all these things, industries go through all these challenges every day.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's being worked on. It's work in progress. And therefore, it's good for these things to be done to ensure that that stability that we are looking forward to materializes.
Yeah, I think for us, our focus is on our depositors, because they really give us the blood to run, and therefore we are all doing whatever we can to reassure our depositors that we're taking the right measures. And I'm sure the central bank again will be going through all of the numbers to ensure the risk assets that we are taking are the appropriate risk assets, and other investments that we make are the right ones. And I tell you, it's not just what the central bank does. Is what our own internal boards do.
Interview of the day.
And there's more business news on our website, myjoyonline.com. My name is Darryl Kwao. It's great to have you as company. We'll see you tomorrow.